Hello and welcome to the Excel VBA function series. In this video we will take a look at time VBA functions. So let's go to the Visual Basic Editor. As usual, let's go time functions. And the first thing to note is that we can declare a time variable as a date. So there's no such thing as time type, there's just a date. So it could be my time now or whatever as a date. Yeah, that's an option. So the date variable stores the date and the time. Now, if we just want to have the date for whatever reason and we don't want to mess with, we can also have it as a string or as a variant in any case. Yeah, but let's leave it as a date. I will leave here also a string or variant. And now we can get my time, we can get it from the worksheet as we did before. So if we have a time value in the worksheet in B3, there's a time value, we can get it like that, right? That's the time there. And now we can get the parts of the time as we do in the Excel worksheet in our macro with, let's say, my hour. So that would be the hour of my time and so on, right? My minute. Um, these variables are actually numeric. So if we declare these variables, that should be a number, right? An integer, as integer. My minute is also an integer, same for my second, right? If you need to work with these variables in the macro, you have to declare them as an integer. And of course, we can display the minute of this time is 40 minutes. And it's exactly the same we would do in the Excel worksheet, of course, with the same Excel, with the same functions, hour, minute, second. Now we can get the time now with in Excel with now. And there are two options in VBA. So there's a slight difference in VBA. So if we want to get the time now, my time now, let's say, we would use the VBA function time. So time is giving you the time now. The same as we did in the previous video with date, giving the date right now. So time is giving the time right now. There's also a now VBA function. This one will give you the date and time together, right? Then you need to make sure that you declare it as a date, as we did here. But you can just get the time. Now, if we display time now, it gives us just the time now, right? Um, and if we use now, it will it will give the date and time as you see here. Okay, so for time you just use time. Now there's another interesting function, very similar as what we did with the date, to build a time. And of course, again, you can say you can build it this way, yes, with the it's 10:30 or whatever, right? And if you have those into variables as we have here, you could say my hour and my minute and so on, right? Well, this would work, but it's not the best way to do it. So we have instead the time serial function, which is, as you see here, is accepting three parameters: the hour, the time, the hour, the minute, and the second. So this is how you would do it um, in a slightly better way, right? So if we want to put this, and it's gonna take this from this date here, so it's gonna show this date here. That's what we get. Now I added here in this worksheet the date and time, this will all depend on the formatting. So this and this is actually the same. You see the same formula, the now, which is giving you date and time in the worksheet. The only difference is the formatting, so you need to be careful about that. This has a custom formatting to show date and time, and this has a time format. And if I put the date format, so it will give just the date. Now, we don't really have to worry about that in the macro, because in the macro we can specify exactly what we want to have, and we can also declare the variable as we want to have it. Now, there's another very interesting VBA time function. Let me show you here in this other, let's call it time other functions. And this one is timer. So there's a slight difference, time and timer. Timer is giving you the number of seconds that have elapsed since midnight. And this is very useful to measure time somehow in your macro. Let me show you an example. Let's say your macro starts now and you register the start time of the macro with timer. This will give you a number. Let me show you in a message box. The start time, it will give you a number, which is the number of seconds since midnight. Now you do something with your macro and you can measure how long it took, or you have a process and you want to measure the time. So let's say we're gonna display a message box saying click OK. Yeah, the message box has a button that says OK. So you just have to click OK, and we're gonna measure how fast the the user can click that button. So now after clicking the button, we will use again the timer function. Now we put it in another variable, end time. And of course, didn't declare, but you can also declare those. Now we're gonna show how long it took to click the box, and that will be the difference. So the time, let's call it time difference between end time minus start time. And maybe we can do it a little prettier, so we can round the number to have just 2 decimals, because it's gonna give the seconds and milliseconds. So we will see only 2 digits for milliseconds. And now we can display another message box saying it took you to click um, to click that button, it took you the diff time. And again, diff, I didn't declare it, but it's also a single or double. It's a decimal number. So let me now display this. And you see, now when I click OK, it tells me it took you 2 seconds and 77 milliseconds to click the box. And so that you can measure how long it takes to do something, how long it takes the macro to run and things like that. Now it took 7 seconds while I was speaking, right? Or you can play a game to see how fast you can do it. Right now it was 1 second, 41 milliseconds. So that's a useful function. And you can do many other things here. You can actually, I've shown how to use another time functions and time APIs to create a game in Excel to move things. You can also do that with the timer function. You can do a lot of other stuff. Now, the last function I want to show you, and let's put it in another time functions more. I don't know how I call the other one. So more time functions. This one is time value. It's very useful to add time and make calculations somehow. So if we have some time now, and let's say it's time, and we want to add a number of seconds, minutes to that time and to perform some action, we could use my time, let's call it future, is my time plus, now we would use time value with whatever time we want to put, and we can put it in a string format. So let's say I want to add to this time 10 seconds. So I would write it like this. So time value allows to create a time from from a string, so to speak. And I put it directly here, but we could put uh, in a variable, of course. My next time would be that. And then here we would use my next or my time elapsed or something. Or let's call it maybe better my time passed or something like this. So if we put it in a variable, we could put it here. And this is useful to apply to different functions in VBA, such as, for example, application wait. We want to wait a certain time from now, so we would say time now plus, then we would use time value. We want to wait, let's say, 2 seconds, right? So if we run this macro, this is gonna wait 2 seconds and then it's gonna do whatever. Let's say we display a message box saying done or whatever, right? So it's gonna wait. So we play, it's gonna wait 1, 2, and then done. We can also use time value or any of the other time functions to get a time and run another macro at a certain time, right? We would use then on application on time, and this would come with a certain time. Let's say my time future, whatever that was, it will run another macro that I'm gonna call message. After a certain time, it will send it will run this other macro that is going to say um, whatever reminder, right? It's going to remind you about something. So if we, let me comment this, if we have my time future, which is going to be my time now plus 10 seconds, let's put it down to 5 seconds, and I run this macro. Now forget about this part, we are not going to wait now. What we're going to do is to put in this variable 5 seconds, and then to create my time future is now plus time seconds. So the the time in 5 seconds, and in 5 seconds from now, it will call this other macro to send a reminder. So if I click now play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it will then call the other macro to send the reminder, or it will do whatever other action. So this was a summary of some of the most important VBA time functions. Thanks for watching.